Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and to my annual revenue streams breakdown video. This is the 2023 edition and this is in fact my 6th year documenting this. So we have got a lot of historical data here, and this year is an interesting one. Things have changed. So the financial year of my business runs from the end of March to the end of March. So this last 12 months that we are covering includes the entirety of my 3 months maternity leave and me coming back to work part-time. So we're going to see how that has impacted my income and the distribution of the various revenue streams. And speaking of revenue streams, this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build your business, brand, online presence, side hustle, whatever it may be, with beautiful websites that allow you to engage with your audience, show off your work, and sell products and services. So the reason I started making these videos and continue to do so is because I think it is really important to talk about money, especially in this industry that I am in, the content creation, the influencer marketing industry, because there is a lot of mystery around it still. I'm trying to clear a few things up here, but also just in the realm of freelancers in general, I think it's really important to have multiple different revenue streams, and it's interesting to document how those have changed over time. I originally started doing this 6 years ago and realized that 80% of my income was coming from brand deals, and I did not like having so many of my eggs in one basket. And so I set out to diversify, and diversify I did. So we're going to see how that is all going. A few bits and bobs before we get into the breakdown of the percentages in my pie chart. The pie chart represents my revenue. So this is everything that is coming in. We're not talking in this video about expenses, because essentially what I earn is the income minus all the expenses, and then what is left over is for me, for little old me, or to just spend on the business the following year, depending on what's going on. And this last year, my expenses have definitely been higher. It's been my first full year with Mia, my creative producer, and also been working with a lot of other creatives on a more ad hoc basis and on different videos, on camera and behind the scenes. And I talked about this a little bit on my Instagram and in my newsletter, but my income is down. So this is revenue, like the overall money that I'm taking in is down. I've lost about 1/3 of that income from the previous year. And then obviously, as I mentioned, expenses are up. So we're at an interesting time here at Hannah Witton HQ, but I'm still really loving it, so we continue. But the reason why the size of the pie total has been reduced by 1/3 is obviously because I took like 3-4 months off work. I was doing nada. I wasn't doing nada, I was raising a baby, but I wasn't working. And then also now I'm not working as much as I was. I'm now working part-time. I'm currently working 3 days a week. And obviously that has an impact on the content. I've definitely seen that having taken time off, the algorithm, the people watching, it's not happy. So numbers across my main sex education channel are down, and also the podcasts are down. However, this channel is popping since I've come back from maternity leave. And then also there's this weird trend of like the numbers being really high during pregnancy and people being really invested in you as a pregnant person. And then as soon as you have the baby, it's like, okay, you are now a parent. We don't care about you anymore. There is like this weird thing there. I don't know if other parents have noticed that, but also like I'm losing Instagram followers and all of that. So it's just like, interesting. And that's all been like post-birth. Alas, with all of that context being said, let's dive into the pie chart of the last year, April 2022 to April 2023, of my revenue streams. So starting with brand deals, my income from brand deals comes in at 45%, which I am really happy with. This is the same percentage of the pie last year, and as you can see, a very different picture than the like 80% that it was 6 years ago. So since coming back from mat leave, I've definitely seen some interest still from brands. The landscape though has changed. Maybe a few years ago, I would have been doing some more like one-off, like really big campaigns, but now there's just a few more like smaller ones is kind of the vibe. Also, platform has changed, so there's definitely a lot more interest in sponsoring things on Instagram Reels, and also this channel, More Hannah. Speaking of which, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. So you may have seen recently that I did a big rebrand and moved my hannahwitton.com website over to Squarespace. And I've actually been using Squarespace for a bunch of my other websites and projects for years now. So got it all in one place and I love it. They have beautiful and easy to use templates for whatever your work or project desires. It's a great place to present your portfolios or galleries of your work. And if you do client-based work, so you can password protect sections so you can share with private clients. Squarespace also has online stores. As part of the big rebrand and move, we moved the Sexy Scribbles store over to Squarespace as well. So my new website and shop is where you can get your sex positive digital coloring in books, and Squarespace takes care of everything front and back end, and you can sell physical and digital products. All websites are optimized for mobile as well, so the content adjusts and looks great no matter what device you are using. You can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then when you are ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/morehannah to get 10% off your first website or domain. And thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. And also on the brand deals thing, you will probably see a few more videos from Squarespace coming out in the future, because that's another thing that I've been able to do more recently, is like longer term campaigns with brands. However, obviously we are now in the following year, so the income that I'm earning now will not be reflected in this pie chart. This will be next year's. But next up, we have Patreon coming in at 23.4%. This is the biggest percentage that it has ever been. And the actual amount has only decreased slightly from last year. And this has definitely been my most steady form of income during this year, this very transitional year. And so I just want to say like a really big thank you to my patrons, literally keeping me and my business and my team afloat. It is so important, not just for me, but just for creatives in general. Patreon is such an amazing tool in that way. And just especially thank you to all of the people that stayed patrons and subscribed whilst I wasn't making any content. Like, thank you so much. When you work in this industry, you don't get paid time off. And so Patreon is one of those ways that you can take a mat leave, you can take sick leave, and people are still, you know, funding it and helping you so you can kind of like survive during these things. So thank you very much. Next up, we have affiliate income at 6.6%. So affiliate income is basically when I use trackable links and they are personalized to me. And so if you purchase something through any one of my links, I get a little bit of commission off those. And I mostly use affiliate links for sex toys. And occasionally some other things as well, but mostly sex toys. And this 6.6% is definitely down from last year, but it does tend to fluctuate year on year. Affiliates is one of those things where you get out what you put in. And I hadn't realized that I clearly hadn't been like pushing my affiliate links that much in the last year, which I do sort of regret, because it's not that hard for me to promote them, and then it does become a sort of passive income, and that probably would have been really helpful this year. So little reminder, got some sex toy discounts if you want them. So I get a little commission, but also there's some discounts for you guys too. Link in the description. But I'm trying to think now if in that time frame we even made any videos about sex toys, and I don't know if we did. We did one recently, but that would be reflected in next year's revenue streams thing. Need to remember to mention sex toys more to help with that affiliate income. Next up is Adsense coming in at 21.9%. Adsense is the money that I earn from the ads that you see auto playing on YouTube videos. This is a pretty big percentage for me in terms of Adsense, and I was not expecting this at all. The actual amount again has decreased a little bit from last year, but considering that I took 3 months off from posting any videos at all, I am shocked. One of the other reasons why I'm really confused is, like I said, the Hannah Witton and Friends sex education channel, the views are down and the AdSense is down on that channel. And obviously most of the videos on that channel are also like demonetized, like not suitable for most advertisers. So that channel honestly doesn't earn a lot of money. However, I did have a viral video at the end of last year, which was the boobs and vulva video. You can see the results of that behind me. And that is like on over 1 million views at this point. So that probably picked things up a little bit. And then also, this channel has been doing really well since I came back from mat leave. And the content on this channel is a lot more advertiser friendly, and not just advertiser friendly, advertiser desirable. Like the fashion stuff and the baby stuff and the parenting stuff, that tends to get like a much higher CPM, which means cost per meal, which is what the advertisers are paying for it, because it's basically runs like a big auction. So advertisers are more interested in advertising on this channel, and so the prices are higher, but they're less interested in advertising on the other channel, so the prices to do so are lower. Supply, demand, the market, baby. So yeah, that is really interesting to me. This channel still overall gets less views than the Hannah Witton and Friends channel, and yet is earning a lot more money than it. So podcast stuff, Doing It podcast. We've done a whole series, a whole season of the podcast since I came back from mat leave, and that has come in at a whopping 0.8%. And in my notes here, I just wrote, ha, ha, ha. Honestly, it's ridiculous. And this is another reason why Patreon is so important, because making that podcast costs us a lot of money and time, and it literally would not happen without Patreon. But however, we are now currently in between seasons, and we're working on something a bit more ambitious and a bit more special that isn't going to be as long. It's not going to be as many episodes. It's going to be a kind of like limited series. We're kind of experimenting with it to see what happens and how it goes. And so again, Patreon is going to be really crucial to the funding of that, because we're not going to be putting out as many episodes, but we're hoping that the episodes will be like bigger and better, and it's going to be fun. You'll see. Patrons, I'll give you a little bit more behind the scenes as well. And then we have writing, which comes in at 0.2%. How humble. And this is just book royalties. I've not been actively doing any writing in the last year, so this is just money that the Doing It book is earning, because the Hormone Diaries, she hasn't out-earned her advance yet, so we don't earn any royalties from her. And then event/speaking, I was really excited last year that this was as high as it was, and I think last year it was something like 3 and a bit %, because I was doing a lot more events and stuff. However, this year I've done 1 speaking gig, and the amount comes in at 0.1% of my overall revenue. But yes, with working part-time and still working on the YouTube and the podcast stuff, I have managed to find time to do 1 speaking engagement, and it was about parenting and sex, so that was lovely. And then merch comes in at a very lovely 2%, and this is money earned from Sexy Scribbles. So again, if you would like a digital sex positive colouring in book, you can find them on my shop on my Squarespace website. And then normally we have an other category, because there's other bits and bobs that I do throughout the year that I'm not sure where to categorize. However, this year other comes in at 0%, because I have literally had no time for anything else. And that's it. That is my revenue streams breakdown of the year that I took maternity leave and went to working part-time. And I mentioned this in one of my other videos about being a part-time working mum and not liking being a statistic, because there's this general trend that if a cis-het couple have a baby, then the woman's income will go down and the man's income will increase, like overall, over time. And yeah, that is true for my situation and my relationship. And being a statistic like that is not fun. But also I've made a choice that works for me. I could, in theory, go back to work full-time and have Rowan in childcare full-time. But that just doesn't feel right to me at this moment in time. Maybe it will in the future, but right now, that is not what I want. So yes, there we have it. Did any of these numbers surprise you, shock you, or are you just like, yes, What did you expect, Hannah? And of course, if you want to watch any of the other previous year's breakdowns, they are all up on YouTube, links in the description if you want to check them out. Thank you so much again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to head to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and then go to squarespace.com/morehannah to get 10% off your first website or domain when you're ready to launch. I hope that you're all doing well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!